Good evening. I'm John Brown, and tonight, I bring you a story that has left an entire community reeling with shock and sorrow. The tragic events that unfolded have not only shattered a family, but have also left a lasting impact on everyone who knew the victim. Simon Vickers, a 50-year-old father from Darlington, has been found guilty of the unthinkable, murdering his own daughter, 14-year-old Scarlett Vickers. This case has gripped the nation, as details of the incident and the subsequent trial have come to light. This heartbreaking case unfolded in the Teesside Crown Court, where Vickers stood trial, claiming his daughter's tragic death was a mere accident during what he described as innocent family horseplay. The courtroom was filled with tension as both the prosecution and defense presented their arguments. It was a Friday evening in July of last year, a time that should have been filled with joy and laughter. The Vickers family had been enjoying a typical summer evening, engaging in lighthearted activities that many families can relate to. Instead, it ended in tragedy. The events that transpired that night have left an indelible mark on the family and the community. Vickers, his partner of 27 years, Sarah Hall and Scarlett were in their kitchen, engaging in playful activities, throwing grapes and tickling. What seemed like a harmless and fun family moment quickly took a dark turn. But what started as harmless fun quickly escalated into a nightmare. The playful atmosphere turned tense, and the situation spiraled out of control. Scarlett suffered a fatal stab wound to her chest, 11 centimeters deep, causing her to bleed to death at the scene. The emergency response team arrived quickly, but it was too late to save her. Vickers initially told police the stabbing was an accident, suggesting he may have thrown a knife at her by mistake or accidentally swiped it off a surface. His explanations, however, did not align with the forensic evidence gathered at the scene. But prosecutors saw through his story, labeling it a lie. They meticulously presented evidence that contradicted Vickers' claims, painting a different picture of what happened that night. On the night of the incident, Vickers had consumed 4 glasses of wine and a cannabis joint. This combination of substances likely impaired his judgment and contributed to the tragic outcome. Prosecutor Mark McCone KC argued that this intoxication, combined with Vickers' irritation, possibly triggered by grapes falling where the family dog could eat them, led him to pick up a kitchen knife and deliberately stab his daughter. The prosecution's argument was compelling and left little room for doubt. A forensic pathologist provided critical evidence, making it clear that the wound could not have been accidental. The nature and depth of the wound indicated a deliberate act, further discrediting Vickers' version of events. Despite Vickers breaking down during the trial, insisting he would never intentionally harm Scarlett, his emotional plea fell on deaf ears. The jury remained focused on the evidence presented, rather than the defendant's emotional display. After over a week of deliberations, the jury found Vickers guilty of murder, dismissing his claims of an accident and his pleas of innocence to both murder and manslaughter. The verdict brought a sense of closure to some, but the pain of loss remains. This case has left the local community in deep mourning as they come to terms with the loss of Scarlett, a young life taken too soon in devastating circumstances. Vigils and memorials have been held in her honor as friends and family struggle to cope with the tragedy. Simon Vickers is now awaiting sentencing, and we will continue to follow this story closely. The sentencing will determine the final chapter of this heartbreaking case, but the emotional scars will remain for those affected. Stay tuned to Prime News TV for the latest updates. I'm John Brown, and this has been your Breaking News Update.